Jeff Pearson, the man who outsmarted the police. It began like any other small-town arrest, an ordinary morning in 2011, with police officers responding to yet another call about a drug-related robbery in downtown Kentucky. But within hours, that ordinary day would turn into one of the most confusing interrogations the department had ever faced. The suspect was Jeff Pearson, a 34-year-old man with hollow eyes, shaky hands, and a record that screamed junkie. He'd been arrested countless times before for minor drug possession, loitering, and petty theft. To most cops, he was just another addict circling the drain. But that morning, Jeff was calm, too calm. When detectives pulled him into the interrogation room, he didn't speak a word. No shouting, no excuses, no panic. Just silence. He sat across from them with the stillness of a man who'd already been through this 100 times before, and somehow knew exactly how it was going to play out. Earlier that day, a local pharmacy had been robbed. The suspect, a man in a dark hoodie, stole prescription narcotics and cash. A witness claimed the thief had fled on foot toward a rundown neighborhood known for drug activity. Minutes later, patrol officers found Jeff Pearson walking just 2 blocks away. He matched the general description. Same build, same dark clothes. He had track marks on his arms, a small amount of heroin in his pocket, and a bad reputation in town. To the officers, that was enough. Jeff was handcuffed on the spot. As they drove him to the station, he stared out the window quietly. The city rolled by broken streets, flickering lights, and the faint echo of a siren in the distance. He'd been here before, but this time, he wasn't planning on playing the victim. Inside the cold gray room, a camera blinked to life. Detective Owens, a veteran officer with 15 years in narcotics, entered with a folder in his hand. He dropped it on the table like a hammer. "You know why you're here, Jeff?" Jeff looked up slowly. "No idea." Owens smirked. "We've got a witness. We've got a description, and we've got you 2 blocks from the scene." Jeff shrugged. "That's not evidence." The tone in his voice caught Owens off guard. Most suspects in withdrawal were erratic shaking, sweating, begging for a fix. But Jeff was composed. Too composed. "You've been using again?" the detective asked. "Does it matter?" Jeff said quietly. "You're not a doctor." Owens leaned forward, trying to break through the wall, but Jeff didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. Minutes turned into hours. The same questions repeated. Where was he? Who was he with? What did he steal? But Jeff gave nothing. Every time they tried to corner him, he slipped away with short, legal-sounding replies. "Am I under arrest or being detained? Do I have the right to counsel? I'm not waiving anything." Owens had seen suspects clam up before, but this was different. Jeff wasn't scared he was playing them. At one point, Owens left the room to let him sweat. The second detective, Morris, came in the classic good cop. He placed a cup of water in front of Jeff and sat down softly. "Listen, Jeff, we both know you've had it rough. You tell us what happened, and maybe we can get you some help. Rehab instead of prison." Jeff chuckled, the first real emotion he'd shown in hours. "You think I haven't heard that before? Every one of you says that right before you screw me over." Morris smiled faintly. "You're smarter than you look." "Smarter than you think," Jeff replied. He leaned back in his chair and pointed to the camera. "That's recording, right? You can't promise me anything that'll hold up in court, so why are you still talking? Morris blinked. The quiet junkie suddenly sounded like a lawyer. After 8 hours, Jeff's withdrawal started to kick in. Shaking hands, sweating forehead, dry lips. But instead of begging for relief, he leaned into it. He wanted them to think he was breaking down, that the drugs were clouding his mind. But he was listening. Every whispered conversation outside the room, every movement of the detectives swapping shifts. Jeff noted it all. He knew they'd eventually try something desperate. And they did. Owens stormed back in, slamming down a printed sheet, a blurry security still showing a man in a hoodie near the pharmacy. That's you, isn't it? Same build, same clothes. Jeff looked at it. That's half the city, detective. You ever been downtown? You think this is a joke? Owens snapped. Jeff smiled slightly. No, I think this is what happens when you need someone to blame. Owens' patience broke. He slammed his fist on the table, but Jeff stayed perfectly still, calm as ever. The detective walked out, furious. Now Jeff knew he had them. He wasn't a lawyer, but he'd spent enough time in county jails to learn one thing. Police rely on fear. If you don't give them power, they lose it. He'd studied interrogation tactics from observation, learning every trick, the fake sympathy, the lies about your friend already confessed, even the fake evidence. When Owens came back with a piece of paper, Jeff stopped him mid-sentence. Before you say anything, I want a lawyer, and I'm not signing a thing. Owens froze. You sure you want to play it that way? I'm not playing, Jeff said. You are. The detective glared at him, and for the first time, Jeff saw it. Doubt. That tiny crack in authority. From that moment on, the interrogation shifted. Jeff refused every question. He refused food, refused water, refused to speak. He knew the law. If they kept him too long without charges, the clock would run out. And as the minutes dragged on, the officers started realizing they had no hard evidence. The footage was unclear. The witness had changed his statement, and without a confession, they had nothing. By the 10th hour, the precinct atmosphere had changed completely. What started as confidence now felt like panic. Jeff sat silently, staring at the mirror. He knew they were watching him. He even whispered once, barely audible, "Tick-tock, detective.